Welcome to this episode of Viatorian Voices, where our conversations on the way give witness to the ministry and spirituality of walking with youth and those who go underserved. We carry the charism of our founder, the Venerable Louis Curbs, who taught us, "Strive to do everything well, so that through you, Jesus may be adored and loved." Here's your host, Viatorian Associate Dan Masterton.
In this episode, we explore our international Viatorian solidarity with our sisters and brothers in Spain. Our guests are Associate Ilse Kugel, Associate Javier Elena Carrero, and Brother José Javier García García. All three are teachers at Colegio Fátima in Madrid, including teaching English, and members of La Comunidad Nuestra, Señora de Fátima in Madrid. Ilse and Javier help moderate scouting groups, and Brother JJ oversees school campus ministry. Ilse has been an associate since 2020, Javier has been an associate since 1998, and Brother JJ, or Brother Jota Jota, professed first vows in 1987. Two quick notes to help give context for this episode. First, Viatorian Association began in Spain in the early 1980s, nearly 20 years earlier than in the US. Second, Europeans often use the word youth to describe what we in the US would call young adults, so keep that in mind as you hear about ministries with different age groups. After you listen, help us tell the Viatorian story by rating our podcast in your favorite app, sending this episode link to a friend, and praying for and encouraging young men considering Viatorian religious life and all people considering Viatorian association. To further introduce themselves, I asked our friends to share how they first encountered the Viatorians and joined our community. You'll hear first from Ilse, then Javier, and finally from Brother Jota Jota.
I am a mother of two children, and my children came to Nuestra Señora de Fátima to study when they were 6 years old. So that was a time where I get known the community of San Viator. Some of their teachers were clericals of the San Viator. Now, when I began to work at the school 2 or 3 years after, I had known, because of the organization of the school, more people, more Viatorians. And finally, they were working colleagues with me, so it became a daily relationship. When I had a very difficult time in my life, they were there to listen to me and to help me. And that was the moment where, little by little, I became one of the members of the Viatorian community.
I knew Viatorians about 50 years ago. When I entered the school, I was sick. And then, well, it was kind of a natural way. I entered in the pastoral groups. I joined the youth movement here around the school. And then I think my feeling of being a Viator grew gradually, naturally. As far as I can remember, Viatorians always were around me. So they learned to me how to follow Jesus, how to be a Catholic. It was naturally to end in the community.
I met the Viatorians when I was 14 because a Viatorian priest visited my elementary school in Palencia. In Palencia, there were no Viatorians, and I was invited to go to Valladolid, to the seminary. After some years of accompaniment, the seminary, the pre-novitiate, and the novitiate in the Basque Country, I decided to take my first vows in 1997. I studied teacher training and English studies and pastoral ministry. I lived in several Viatorian communities, and I have served as teacher, catechist, pastoral ministry coordinator in several schools. What struck me most about the Viatorians was the warm hospitality. I saw full of joy and faith. And I said, I want to be a Viatorian religious. What struck me the most was the pastoral work with children and young people. The education understood in a comprehensive way. values, educating supportive citizens, good Christians, good people.
Each country has its own context, with different factors affecting religion, community, culture, and more. As in many other historically Catholic countries, the Church in Spain these days has faced pushback. But these Viatorians think our way of living a pluralistic, inclusive faith life and community life is well suited to meet the signs of our times.
It is different in the different regions of Spain. Okay, we're in Madrid, in the center of Spain, so I think it is quite special. I think there is one thing in common. The church is trying to give an answer to the new challenges, okay, migration, ecology, but I think that these answers cannot fulfill young people. So we are seeing a new stream of spirituality and worry about religion, but Catholic Church is not the main way to express this sense or these feelings. So I think we have a history when Catholic Church was very important in our society, and I don't know if some people identify this with authority. You are not going to tell me what to do. A lack of the sense of community. Many people talk about, well, an intimate religion, my own experience of God, but not in community, and the commitment that community life implies.
Now the environment is not so religious and people don't feel the necessity of believing. We think that they are self-sufficient. We don't need God. For us, it is difficult to bear witness in this environment. It is said that nowadays there's a kind of awakening of Catholicism, I think, and people and young people are more open to God. What we have to take into account is that we can go there or be there to offer an experience of God, an experience of solidarity, an experience of prayer, accompaniment.
For the people of our generation, a lot of them, they were studying in Catholic schools, and some of them, they didn't have very good experiences. But they had to have a little bit of change of the life they had when they were small. They had to listen to what the teachers and the parents say that they have to do. And now they want to be much more free to decide what they want to do and how they want to pray.
I think that we have to learn how to live together with different religions. There is a diversity of culture, diversity of peoples. We have to know how to live together with different religions.
Our community's history in Spain begins with French Viatorians who fled turbulent conditions in early 20th century France. Over time, vocations in Spain emerged, and these Viatorians from Spain, together with those who fled Rodez, France, built up our ministries and became a province in 1948. Our community today continues to carry the charism, and even as members age or retire, these Viatorians find hope in their young people, including former students and scouts who have become colleagues as adults.
We mainly work really in parishes, in schools, and activities of free time. I think our priests not only responsible about parishes in big cities, but also in very small towns, remote villages where there are less or very few inhabitants. They are associates who serve like lectors and responsible of liturgy in a rural area where there are not many priests. There are fewer and fewer active teachers because the age is always increasing, not only like clerics of St. Viatorians, but also there are less associate active in the education of the schools. We also work with free time groups We have 3 scouts groups in Spain. One is in Fátima, the other is in San Viator of Madrid, and the other one is in Viatorian. And they are all affiliated with the schools. All the groups are accompanied with Viatorians. And then we have also some religious one and only some of sports.
Associates and religious brothers and fathers, we are working together in parishes and schools. And since 1981, so a long time ago, it would be a very good achievement to work more with young people, okay? Maybe we work with children and teenagers, and it would be very good to work more with young people or mature young people. I think this is our challenge in the future.
We're working full time at the school as teachers, and JJ is the responsible of the catechesis. We are the responsible of scouts. So we are not young, so it's not easy to support this lot of work. But this is our reality.
But there's one thing, I mean, it's very important, and we are seeing it now again. In Scout, the most of the children that began with us with 6 years are now working with the children. And there are a lot of children in our school who are sons and daughters of children that went their time in the school also. So that's also very good.
And former teachers who are former students who are teaching now.
That's what I want to say. We have a lot of young people who are studying to be a teacher and are now with us making their practices to be teachers. So it's not so bad. We are old, yes, but it's not so bad.
Viatorians are committed to reading the signs of the times and responding with action so that we can walk with and serve people who society tries to say are unimportant. In Spain, a major way Viatorians live this out is through SERSO, a collective Viatorian action of charity and justice.
SERSO stands for Service and Solidarity, a non-governmental organization. It was founded in Vitoria, the Basque Country, to North Spain, in 1993, with the aim of financing the solidarity work of the Viatorian foundations, although not exclusively, Haiti, Honduras, Peru, Burkina Faso, and Ivory Coast. In recent years, we have been supporting from SERSO water and sanitation projects and projects addressing gender and sexual violence in Honduras, in Jutiapa, as well as educational projects in the other countries. The Viatorian communities and schools in Spain are involved at different levels. For example, in our school, Our Lady of Fatima School in Madrid, we organized every year a race, a solidarity race with the students, parents, and teachers. And our school covers from kindergarten, infant education, to a secondary school, 16-year-old students. And all funds raised, about 2,500 euros each year, go towards these projects. Teachers from Sunday schools who go in summer to participate in different projects in Honduras, in Peru, especially young people.
What I like is that we are linked. Schools and the communities are linked in any way. A little student in infants can participate in the race, and he even knows that it goes for SERSO and will help. And it is creating the feeling of being an international community.
A U.S. Scouts some years ago organized collecting school material, books, etc.
And sanitary material, mainly sanitary,
to send to
Ivory Coast.
SERSO gives us the way to work the charity in communities like ours that are not very, very rich. We are a poor place of Madrid, not the poorest, and to show to the children from small on that charity is important and that they can make something with not only money, with less things. It's very, very good for them. And I remember when we sent school material, so the infants had to bring school material. And when we get the photos, I remember one child who saw a pencil with a ball over it. And he said, that was my pencil, you know, and he saw it in the photograph. It was very symbolic for him. And to work these things from small on in the school and to have the possibility to send it to other places with SERSO is very important for our children.
So, what would our friends in Spain say to someone who is considering Viatorian association or religious life? What kind of support or encouragement do they offer? What are they looking for? Javier opens the group's answer with a simple memory from when he was a Viatorian student.
A long time ago, when I was a child, there was a sign here in the school, Viatorians wanted people nice and funny. So I think the first thing I will say is that come and see, because we are nice and funny people. So you can have a very nice experience in community. So
the people beneath us in Scouts or at school, they know that we are nice and funny. They know that we are good persons and that we are going to help them ever they need. But some of them often are talking about God or Christ. They are not very sure which is their way to go, you know. And something I have learned is that we cannot trace their way. But we can say, here I am, ever you need, and I will talk with you. And if you want my help, I'm going to help you. When we were very small, sometimes in some schools, we felt we were forced to be Catholic. And now, go your way. I'm here. I'm always beneath you. And every time you need my help, you want to talk about something, you want to laugh with me, here I am. And I think that's our work. And it's a slower work.
Encouraging a person who is considering, that's not so difficult. I think the most difficult thing is to be the spark to consider that. The most important thing for me is accompany and bear witness, both personally first and then as a community. I think the community, the entire community, must be also the entity that makes the call. God loves us, loves me, loves everybody, and invites us to work in this world. And be patient. Because sometimes we want results right now. And we are working with somebody that we think of. This is perfect. I'm going to. But we are not the person who calls. God is behind us.
You know, that life is very fast for everything. Being an example is the best way. Technology, it's every time the children use more technology, it seems like they don't need the human being. But to be an example of human being, of be happy, of faith, of everything, is what they are going to finally see as this is what I want to be, because it's much easier and much warm, you know, than fighting with a machine, you know. So we have to be slow. We have to be an example. And what for me, I think it's a little bit more difficult, but so in big groups, but in small groups, it's easier, is to talk about your faith, We all had bad times in our lives and how our faith had helped us to get over it. So that's our work too.
That's all for this episode of Viatorian Voices. We'd like to thank Ilse, Javier, and Brother Jota for their witness to our Viatorian charism, ministry, and community life. We pray for their important ministry as teachers and youth leaders. To learn more via Spanish language media about Colegio Fátima, visit colegiofatima.es. That's colegiofatima.es, or follow them on Instagram at Fatima Colegio Viter. Learn more about the province of Spain at csviator.es. That's csviator.es. Most importantly, remember you can help us tell the Viatorian story by rating our podcast in your favorite app, sending this episode link to a friend, and praying for and encouraging young men considering Viatorian religious life and all people considering Viatorian association.
Viatorian Voices, Conversations on the Way, is a production of the Viatorian community. Viatorians are professed brothers and priests, and women and men lay associates. Together we proclaim Jesus Christ and the gospel and raise communities where faith is lived, deepened, and celebrated. In the footsteps of the Venerable Louis Querbes and under the patronage of Saint Viator, we strive to do everything well, so that through us, Jesus may be adored and loved. To learn more about our community, visit Viatorians.com or follow us on social media at Viatorian USA. Young adults can connect with faith-filled peers at Viatorian YA on the way on Instagram, where Viatorian young adults are walking together in faith. We invite people seeking accompaniment in exploring God's invitations to reach out to vocation ministry. Send a DM on social media or email vocations@viatorians.com to start a conversation. Viatorian Voices is produced and hosted by Associate Dan Masterton, Director of Communications. Our Provincial Superior is Father Mark Francis. Voiceovers by me, Associate Dan Schwarz. Until next time, Venerable Louis Querbes, inspire us. Saint Viator, pray for us. Adored and loved be Jesus.